Hello, this is Ben Television News Roundup, a compilation of major stories in the week ending. I am Tunde Alawi, and thank you for staying tuned.
I will now form a majority Conservative government. I've been proud to lead the first coalition government in 70 years, and I want to thank all those who worked so hard to make it a success, and in particular, on this day, Nick Clegg. Elections can be bruising clashes of ideas and arguments, and a lot of people who believe profoundly in public service have seen that service cut short. Ed Miliband rang me this morning to wish me luck with the new government. It was a typically generous gesture from someone who is clearly in public service for all the right reasons. The government I led did important work. It laid the foundations for a better future, and now we must build on them. I truly believe we're on the brink of something special in our country. We can make Britain a place where a good life is in reach for everyone who is willing to work and do the right thing. Our manifesto is a manifesto for working people, and as a majority government, we will be able to deliver all of it. Indeed, it is the reason why I think majority government is more accountable. 3 million apprenticeships, more help with childcare, helping 30 million people cope with the cost of living by cutting their taxes, building homes that people are able to buy and own, creating millions more jobs that give people the chance of a better future. And yes, we will deliver that in-out referendum on our future in Europe. As we conduct this vital work, we must ensure that we bring our country together. As I said in the small hours of this morning, we will govern as a party of one nation, one United Kingdom. That means ensuring this recovery reaches all parts of our country, from north to south, from east to west. And indeed, it means rebalancing our economy, building that northern powerhouse. It means giving everyone in our country a chance. So no matter where you're from, you have the opportunity to make the most of your life. It means giving the poorest people the chance of training, a job, and hope for the future. It means that for children who don't get the best start in life, there must be the nursery education and good schooling that can transform their life chances. And of course, it means bringing together the different nations of our United Kingdom. I have always believed in governing with respect. That's why in the last Parliament, we devolved power to Scotland and Wales and gave the people of Scotland a referendum on whether to stay inside the United Kingdom. In this Parliament, I will stay true to my word and implement as fast as I can the devolution that all parties agreed for Wales, Scotland, and Northern Ireland. Governing with respect means recognising that the different nations of our United Kingdom have their own governments as well as the United Kingdom government. Both are important. And indeed, with our plans, the governments of these nations will become more powerful with wider responsibilities. In Scotland, our plans are to create the strongest devolved government anywhere in the world, with important powers over taxation. And no constitutional settlement will be complete if it did not offer also fairness to England. When I stood here 5 years ago, our country was in the grip of an economic crisis. 5 years on, Britain is so much stronger. But the real opportunities lie ahead. Everything I've seen over the last 5 years, and indeed during this election campaign, has proved once again that this is a country with unrivaled skills and creativeness, a country with such good humour and such great compassion. And I'm convinced that if we draw on all of this, then we can take these islands with our proud history and build an even prouder future. Together, we can make Great Britain greater still. Thank you.
I take absolute and total responsibility for the result and our defeat at this election. I'm so sorry for all of those colleagues who lost their seats. Ed Balls, Jim Murphy, Margaret Curran, Douglas Alexander, and all the MPs and indeed candidates who were defeated. They're friends, colleagues and standard bearers for our party. They always have been and they always will be. Britain needs a strong Labour Party. Britain needs a Labour Party that can rebuild after this defeat so we can have a government that stands up for working people again. And now it's time for someone else to take forward the leadership of this party. So I'm tendering my resignation, taking effect after this afternoon's commemoration of VE Day at the Cenotaph. I want to do so straight away because the party needs to have an open and honest debate about the right way forward without constraint. Let me say that Harriet Harman is the best deputy leader anyone could hope for. I worked for her more than 20 years ago. I am proud to have had her as my deputy for my term of leadership. She will take over until a new leader is elected. For me, I'm looking forward to reacquainting myself with Justine, Daniel and Sam. But before I do, I want to say a few things. First of all, thank you to the British people. Thank you to the people who met me on train stations, in colleges, in workplaces, in schools. Thank you for sharing your stories with me. I have learned so much from you. It has been an enormous privilege. Thank you for the selfies. Thank you for the support. And thank you for the most unlikely cult of the 21st century, Millie fandom. Second, I want to address those who voted Labour yesterday. Today you will feel disappointed, even bleak. But while we may have lost the election, the argument of our campaign will not go away. The issue of our unequal country will not go away. This is the challenge of our time. The fight goes on, and whoever is our new leader, I know Labour will keep making the case for a country that works for working people once again. Third, I believe in our United Kingdom, not just because it is our country, but because it is the best way of serving the working people of our country. You know, I believe there is more that unites us than divides us across the whole United Kingdom. And all of us, in the months and years ahead, must rise to the challenge of keeping our country together. Finally, I want to say something to my party. Thank you to you. Thank you for the privilege. I joined this party aged 17. I never dreamed I would lead it. It has been an incredible force for progress, from workers' rights to the NHS to the minimum wage. No other party in British politics can boast these achievements. And yes, it will be a force for progress and change once again. And to all the Labour Party members, you're the most loyal, supportive, amazing people. I thank all of you today. I am truly sorry I did not succeed. I've done my best for nearly 5 years. Now you need to show your responsibility. Your responsibility, not simply to mourn our defeat, but to pick yourself up and continue the fight. We've come back before, and this party will come back again. And if I may, I say to everyone in our party, conduct this leadership election with the same decency, civility and comradeship that we believe is the way the country should be run. I believe I have brought a culture to this party of an ability to have disagreement without being disagreeable. I urge everyone to keep this in mind in the months ahead. Finally, I want to say this. The course of progress and social justice is never simple or straightforward. Change happens because people don't give up. They don't take no for an answer. They keep demanding change. This is my faith. When we see injustice, we must tackle it. In a couple of hours, I will no longer be leading this party. But you see, for me, that has never been the only way to achieve change. Because I believe it isn't simply leaders who achieve change, it is people that make change happen. I will never give up on that idea. I will never give up on that cause. I will never give up on fighting for the Britain I believe in. That faith will always be my faith. That fight will always be my fight. That cause will always be my cause. And I will always be there in that cause with all of you. Thank you very much.
I always expected this election to be exceptionally difficult for the Liberal Democrats, given the heavy responsibilities we've had to bear in government in the most challenging of circumstances. But clearly the results have been immeasurably more crushing and unkind than I could ever have feared. For that, of course, I must take responsibility, and therefore I announce that I will be resigning as leader of the Liberal Democrats. A leadership election will now take place according to the party's rules. For the last 7 years, it's been a privilege, a huge privilege, an unlimited honour to lead a party of the most resilient, courageous and remarkable people. The Liberal Democrats are a family, and I will always be extremely proud of the warmth, good grace and good humour which our political family has shown through the ups and downs of recent years. So I want to thank every member, every campaigner, every councillor and every parliamentarian for the commitment you have shown to our country and to our party. It is simply heartbreaking to see so many friends and colleagues who have served their constituents so diligently over so many years abruptly lose their seats because of forces entirely beyond their control. In 2011, after a night of disappointing election results for our party, one of our candidates in Edinburgh, Alex Cole-Hamilton, said this. He said, if his defeat was part payment for the ending of child detention, then he accepted it with all his heart. Those words revealed a selfless dignity which is very rare in politics, but common amongst Liberal Democrats. If our losses today are part payment for every family that is more secure because of a job we helped to create, every person with depression who is treated with the compassion they deserve, every child who does a little better in school, every apprentice with a long and rewarding career to look forward to, every gay couple who know that their love is worth no less than anyone else's, and every pensioner with a little more freedom and dignity in retirement, then I hope at least our losses can be endured with a little selfless dignity too. We will never know how many lives we changed for the better because we had the courage to step up at a time of crisis. But we have done something that cannot be undone, because there can be no doubt that we leave government with Britain a far stronger, fairer, greener and more liberal country than it was 5 years ago. However unforgiving the judgment has been of the Liberal Democrats in the ballot box, I believe the history books will judge our party kindly for the service we sought to provide to the nation at a time of great economic difficulty, and for the policies and values which we brought to bear in government: opportunity, fairness and liberty, which I believe will stand the test of time. To have served my country at a time of crisis is an honour that will stay with me forever. I hope those who are granted the opportunity to serve our country in government now and in the future will recognise the privilege and responsibility that they have been given. It's the greatest thing you'll ever do. It is, of course, too early to give a considered account of why we have suffered the catastrophic losses we have, and the party will have to reflect on these in the time ahead. But one thing, it seems to me, is clear. Liberalism here, as well as across Europe, is not faring well against the politics of fear. Years of remorseless economic and social hardship following the crash in 2008 and the grinding insecurities of globalization have led people to reach for new certainties. The politics of identity, of nationalism, of us versus them, is now on the rise.
Any personal disappointment I have at this result is as nothing compared to the sense of sorrow I have at the result that Labour has achieved across the United Kingdom, tonight in Scotland, but also in England and in Wales, and the sense of concern I have about the future. We will now face 5 years where questions will arise about the future of our union, about whether or not we can stay as a member of the European Union and fight for jobs and investment, whether we can make sure we secure our national health service at a time of public spending cuts. And those are real concerns to me and to many people across the United Kingdom. Even on this very difficult night, I would just like to say I've been proud to be a Labour and Cooperative Member of Parliament. And we have always been a party which has been internationalist, because we believe we've solved problems by working with other countries to solve them. We've always been a party which believed in the union because the pooling and sharing of risk which comes from our union underpins justice and fairness. We've always been the party who founded the National Health Service and will do everything we can to secure the future of the National Health Service. Even on this difficult night, I'm sure the Labour Party will emerge in the coming weeks and months more united and more determined. And in the next few years, I think more than ever, we will need in Parliament and across the country a Labour Party absolutely determined to stand up for working people in this constituency and in our country. I'm confident Labour will be back. Thank you.
Economy, business, technology, the totality of what makes man is what we bring to you here on this Sponge. We give you the information that you need, from business to economy, to politics, to technology. And that's all we do here on this Sponge, from the beginning to the end. And that is why we are here. Keep watching this Sponge from Ben Television. And today, I'll be your host.
Do you have a story or video you think we can use on Ben TV News? You can send your stories with video to bentelevisionuk@gmail.com. This is all we have for you on News Roundup this week. Thank you for being part of it. I am Tunde Alabi, and I see you again next week to have a good time. Bye.